Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Graham coming at you live from my room, and this is my first YouTube video in about 10 years. I used to do funny videos with my brother right around 2008 when I was in middle school. This channel is primarily going to be about reviews from anything such as TV shows, guitars, amps, guitar pedals. I like guitars a lot, so you're probably going to see a lot of guitar videos. It could be candles, it could be video games, pencils, speakers, technology, cell phones, any of that. My eventual goal for this channel is that when I have enough subscribers and enough fans, that you guys will send me things. Literally anything. It could be a computer, it could be a pen or pencil that's really cool, maybe it lights up or something fancy, a book that I can read, whatever. Anything you want me to review, send it to me once I get this going, and I will do my best to review everything that you guys send me. But this video is going to be a review of a TV show called Final Space that is on TBS. This is going to be a review for Season 1, Episode 1. I know it's roughly a week behind, but I'm just going to get right into it. So we start off with Gary, the main character. He's floating in space, and we all just assume he's going to die. And there's this computer program called Hugh, which is basically like the equivalent of Jarvis to Iron Man. So then it spans into a title sequence, and it's this cool 3D title sequence, and then it ends up with a cookie hitting him in the face, and that ends up becoming a joke in the show because later in the episode we find out that he gets cookies for doing good deeds and such like that, and he can't get any cookies because he's usually a bad person, which is pretty funny if you ask me. So then it spans to him sleeping, and his alarm clock gets off, and it's like, oh, time to get up, and he's like, yes, did not happening. So Hugh, the robot being, basically props up his bed and slams him into a wall, and I just started dying at that part in the show. It was pretty good. After that, we get to see how Gary works on the ship and basically what he does day to day. It's kind of depressing, and then, spoiler alert, I'm going to warn you right now, we learn that he's actually in jail on this spaceship orbiting a planet. I don't think it specifies which planet, but I might get back to you guys on that. Anyway, I find it very Rick and Morty-esque. Like it's almost trying too hard to be Rick and Morty. It's kind of a good filler if you do like Rick and Morty, that show. I might do reviews of that at some point as well, if you want me to. But it's also its own thing, though, because each character is different and they all develop differently, even though it's only been a couple of episodes so far. But I'm just going to base this off of the first episode. So that we eventually see this really super annoying character named Kevin, who, if you watch Family Guy, is basically the Meg of the show. And he's just happy-go-lucky. He's supposed to be like Gary's anger management person or something like that so he can get cookies. And for whatever reason, he is always getting cookies and just slamming them into his face and destroying them for no reason. I think it's just to annoy Gary, in all honesty. We learned that there's also like Defender robots. One of them is named Hank. And these guys basically protect the ship and protect Gary if any harm comes to his way, which I will get to in a moment. So then, later on in the show, he finds this cute little alien guy named Moon Pie, who basically comes out of nowhere, and we find out that there's this guy named the Lord Commander that really, really wants him, and he's evil, and I pretty much really, really hate him now at this point, because within 2 minutes of seeing him, he kills a guy immediately for no reason, even though the guy was making fun of him, because he's this short little guy. But we don't really know much about the Lord Commander other than he wants Mooncake, the alien, and that he is evil. So he ends up sending bounty hunters after Mooncake, and they end up coming on the ship, and then Hank and all the other Defender robots start trying to defend them, and Gary ends up hiding, I believe. I think Kevin and Mooncake also end up hiding while they're shooting at each other. So after a couple minutes, Gary finally gets Hugh to jump into like hyperspace, I believe they call it. It's like light speed for like Star Wars comparison type deal. And this ends up killing most of the bounty hunters except one. And Gary thinks that he actually captured the bounty hunter, but all the Defender robots are actually right behind him. And he ends up dropping his gun so he doesn't die. and we find out that his name is Avocado, and he tells us that Mooncake is actually a planet killer, and Gary is basically just sitting here laughing the entire time. It then ends with another character that hasn't really been talked about much in the episode yet, Gary's crush, whose name I'm forgetting right now, the reason why he ended up on the spaceship. And he does a vlog to her saying that, look at this, I got a cookie, it's my good deed, and then the episode ends. Honestly think it is very Rick and Morty like. It's almost, as I said before, trying too hard to be Rick and Morty. There are some funny aspects. Each character is a little different, but it's also kind of like Family Guy or American Dad-esque, where there's like a really stupid main character who is kind of funny, but you kind of also wish there was more to him. I think that's why I like Rick and Morty a little bit more in comparison to it, because the main character is like super smart and depressed, but he is also obviously depressed because he's been stuck on this stupid spaceship for like 5 years. So there's really not that much to say as the first episode goes. As I said, I pretty much told you the basics of it. I tried to keep it semi-spoiler free if you want to watch it. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it right now. I'm kind of on the fence because there were a couple of funny parts, but at the same time, I was just kind of watching it like, yeah, that's kind of funny. It's not bad. I'm going to keep comparing it to Rick and Morty, and you're going to get sick of me, but I think it is trying really hard to be the next Rick and Morty while they're waiting for a season 4, I believe it is, but this would also be a good season 4 kind of filler, in my opinion. I hope that as the series goes on, the characters develop more. You get to see Gary be more of a heroic, kind of beefy character, kind of like Goku. Maybe he gets stronger, gets trained, learns how to fly ships and stuff. And maybe Mooncake is actually a planet killer and helps him along the way. Who knows? I haven't watched episode 2 yet to find out. All I do know is that I'll give you another spoiler because it's near the end of the episode. Mooncake does actually have some sort of powers, because he ends up saving Gary and gets him back onto the spaceship that Gary was living on for the past 5 years. I know Gary's sentence is also ending pretty soon, so maybe he'll be free, hopefully, and we'll get to see him go around and help people out, or maybe he'll just end up being kind of a scumbag, who knows. But there's not much left to tell, so yet again, my name is Stephen Gray. This is a review of Final Space Season 1, Episode 1. Have a great day. I'm signing out.